Hey guys, Broke Investor here, back to make another wonderful YouTube video. Kind of rotating between YouTube and podcast. I make podcasts on Anchor as well. But anyway, today's YouTube video is to celebrate 3 years of dividend investing and to show you guys, I guess, where I started and what I did and etc. Obviously, you can't see my beautiful face today. Lucky you. Because I decided to do a visual. As you know, I used to have the chalkboard, but now I don't really have that available at the moment, so I'm going to have to do a visual via my iPhone. Speaking of the iPhone, I figured I'd mention my thoughts on the latest iPhone release yesterday, and it's the iPhone 12. A mini, a medium, a large, I don't know what the hell they did. But long story short, it's just another iPhone, nothing special. I own the iPhone 7, which is, considered old now. So I'm kind of just waiting until something jumps out at me until I spend $1,000 on a new phone. And judging what I saw yesterday, nothing jumps out at me. I don't care about 5G. Not to mention, they mentioned, they'll activate 5G when they feel like you need it. So, and in my opinion, when the hell do you need it? I mean, are you playing video games as you're jogging down the road? When you play video games on your iPhone, you're more likely home and you're on Wi-Fi. So at what point in your life do you need 5G when you're not on Wi-Fi? I honestly don't get it. So, and then they'll probably raise the rates of the plans for that. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I'm not impressed with the 5G because I was happy with even 3G. I didn't even think 4G was necessary. But anyway, I do everything on my phone, obviously, such as record YouTube videos. So maybe I should get it for the camera. But that's my feeling, at least on the new iPhone. But let me know, leave a comment below if you feel otherwise. Anyway, let's get right back to the point of this video. I have been, October of 2020 now is 3 years now that I've been dividend investing. So I started November 2017. At the time, I knew nothing. All I knew was I wanted to get started. I had enough. I waited long enough in my life. No excuses. I'm just going to get started. I'm going to learn about investing. So I did. And I discovered Robinhood. And the reason I discovered Robinhood is because I Googled free commission brokerages. And sure enough, they came right up. And from there, forget it. No minimum. You get a free stocks because I had no money at the time too. I knew nothing and I had no money. So, which turned out to be a blessing. But anyway, I got the app on Robinhood. I looked up, as you can see from the spreadsheet, I created this from day one too. What's a stock? What's a dividend? I'm not even kidding. I did not know. I did not really understand it at all. So I wrote down everything. And then Robinhood had all these features. Like when you pull up a stock, they have all this like open high, all this information like under each stock. And I'm like, what in the hell? Am I supposed to know what this means? So, I wrote down everything they had under each stock, and I put the definitions. And every time I had to reference it, I used this spreadsheet, and it helped. Haven't used it in a while, obviously. I mean, you would think I would know what most of this means by now, but and then the other important things are, when you're a dividend investor, which by the way, as soon as I learned about dividends, right away I said, okay, this is what I need to do. Because, it seemed easy, it seemed safe, and you get paid. I mean, I didn't want to be a trader. I didn't have the time. I work, all day, every day, well, at least business days when the stock market's open. I don't have time to go on and trade. So I need to be, invest when I have the time, which is very rare. I'm not going to miss out on a trade because I'm working. I'm not going to disrupt my job for trading. Anyway. Back to the point. So I'm a dividend investor from day one, basically day one, and I still am 3 years later. The other thing I had to learn was the dates. So we have the 4 dates: declaration date, ex-dividend date, record date, payment date. All important information. All information you should learn. As you can see, here are the definitions that I had to write down. The main ones you really need to know is ex-dividend date. The day prior to the ex-dividend date is the last day that you can buy the stock and still qualify for the next dividend. Payment date is obviously when you get paid. So those are really the two dates that matter to you. The others are important too. Declaration when they declare the dividend, and record is when they update their internal records. To see who they're paying. 10. I put 10 sectors. There's more than that. But obviously this is something I haven't used in a while. This is a tab I created in the beginning. And then other things like micro cap, small cap, mid cap. This is just when we talk about market cap, there's different categories for each market cap. So hence me writing that down too. And that's actually used on one of the other tabs I'm going to reference right now. If I could freaking find it. Give me 1 second. There you go. Okay. So that was stock info. Now this is dividend income. Now this is basically my main spreadsheet, right? So way back when, November of 2017, I actually did this too. I wrote down all the companies I'm investing in. I wanted to write down the dividends I'm getting paid because I wanted to track them each and every month. I wanted to see, who's paying me what. So I made this spreadsheet, and I apologize. I'm going to try to zoom in and zoom out so you guys can see. I froze the panes on this. So in the beginning, I owned these companies, as you probably heard of many of them. Some of them I was chasing yield. Some of them I just knew the company. But again, I knew nothing in the beginning, but I just bought stocks that paid a dividend. Again, I chased yield on companies like CLM and ORC, even APLE. But it turns out I actually did like the company. To this day, from this list, I still own AT&T. I still own Leggett & Platt. I still own Starbucks. I still own Target. I just sold Gladstone. Reason being is they cut their dividend, and even before that, they do not grow their dividend. So my strategy has changed recently, and I'm focused mainly on dividend growth stocks. And I say mainly is because I do have room for stocks that maybe don't always grow their dividend, but I have a feeling that they will in the future. But Gladstone does not have a history of increasing their dividend, and in fact, they've recently cut their dividend due to COVID issues. So I don't have room for that in my portfolio anymore. Cornerstone is a Cornerstone Strategic Value Fund is a closed-ended fund. This is a very high yielder, which is why I bought it. It invests in a lot of good companies, but one thing I did notice is they can't really even afford the dividend, and a lot of the dividend comes from the capital. So, I have no time for that. And not to mention, they cut their dividend 3 times while I owned the stock. So, after that third cut, I said, I'm done. There's no need for this. Even after the cut, the yield was insane, but they're just going to keep cutting it, and my capital is going to keep decreasing. So what is the point? I'm a long-term investor. I have the time, and I can wait for the companies to grow their dividend. Old Republic, I actually do still own, and this is an insurance company. And they've been around forever. They've been increasing their dividend forever. However, their dividend growth is not that impressive as of late. It's one thing I'm keeping an eye out. However, I do still own them. Next one, SPHD. Now, this is an ETF. One thing I want to mention to the beginners, if you have no idea what you're doing and you want to begin, at the very least, just start with ETFs. Because when you invest in individual companies, there's a lot higher risk with that versus ETFs because, unless you're looking at the blue chip list, maybe it's a little safer, but I'm talking about like the dumb penny stocks that you may get tempted to because you say that's all you can afford. But like I said, if you're just starting out, ETFs, or I would advise, and who am I know, but I would advise just looking into ETFs and starting with that and go from there. You could always, get rid of them and invest in individual stocks when you're comfortable, but As you can see, I started with both, but I had no idea what I was doing. I really didn't. So I just bought both. I figured I'd be diversified both ways. So I bought SPHD and JNK. They were both ETFs, and they're both good ETFs, but I have since sold them, and the reason I sold them is I do not want to pay a fund of any percentage of my gains, because I want to do the investing myself. I want to invest in the individual companies myself. I do not want an ETF. Another reason is I also have a 401k with my company, and I do not have the option to invest in individual companies in that. And that's the majority of my retirement. I only have the option of index funds. So I'm well diversified in the majority of my retirement. This portfolio that I'm making is my fund money, we'll call it. Maybe I could retire on dividends one day, maybe not. But regardless, I'm not even remotely close to the same amount, invested in this account versus my 401k. So I consider that alone, a good enough reason. Not to mention, I would prefer to spend the time investing and researching the individual companies. So I'm just I might as well keep going. Orchid Island Capital, I was chasing yield. I sold them. They cut their dividend. They had a history in cutting their dividends. So again, dumb move. And Apple Hospitality, I've recently sold them for one reason only. Two reasons. One is they suspended their dividend, so I don't have time for that. But two is they are a REIT, and real estate investment trust, I've recently found out, are taxed differently than common stock companies. Real estate investment trust pay what's called an ordinary dividend. Common stocks pay a qualified dividend. So if you receive an ordinary dividend, you're going to get taxed at your normal income rate versus capital gains rate. Now, the income rate could be anywhere from 5 to 7%, I believe, higher. So if I could save 7% a year on my dividend, then I don't want Apple Hospitality in my taxable brokerage. So what I did is I decided to move all my REITs, or I'm actually still in the process, moving all my REITs into my Roth IRA. So now, what did I do? What else did I do? I put the ticker symbol. I put the payment date. That was something I added later, which is obviously why it's not filled in. The holding percentage, so I can see if I'm diversified. I added the sectors. Very important. Also industry, market cap, month, year, whatever their frequency, whether or not they pay quarterly or not. Again, I apologize for the view. But stock price, how much I invested, things like that. Cash, how much I received, yield on cost, ex-dividend date, payment date, month-end value, things like that. So now, I'm going to go into those, but not right now. But as you can see, I did this every month. Every month. Why? Why did I do this every month? I did it every month because I was tracking each and every dividend every month. And eventually I had a goal to exceed what my goal was each month, because I wanted to make more each and every month. One reason is for motivation. Another reason is just I wanted to have like a balanced income month to month. I wanted to have, a steady income, because I'm expected to retire on this, so I'd rather receive a similar amount each month. This is not, and I repeat, not smart. I like to, I wanted to have a monthly goal. So I did, the frequency of the dividend did matter. Like if you look at the pay dates, which I have filled in down here now, these are the pay dates. Some companies pay quarterly. Most companies pay quarterly. Like the RPM, for example, pays January, April, July, and October. Those are what's called the off months. Similar, Nucor pays February, May, August, November. Again, off months. Now, the majority of the companies that everyone knows, like Home Depot, McDonald's, they pay 3, 6, 9, 12, March, June, September, December. These are the quarter end months. These are the popular months. Now, is it hard to find companies that pay on the off months to balance out my dividend income. No, it's really not. In fact, as of late, I just bought into Texas Instruments here, ticker symbol TXN, and they pay February, 25811, and they're a great company. Look at their dividend growth; it's insane. But on the flip side, United Health, I actually just got into, ticker symbol UNH, and they paid 36912. So, I mean, they're, both great companies. United Healthcare in the healthcare industry, and the sector is healthcare plans. I'm sure everyone heard of that. Texas Instruments, this is a lesson. When I started, I always heard of Texas Instruments, but growing up, to me, Texas Instruments was a graphing calculator, so I never looked at it, never wasted my time. Sure enough, here I am 3 years later. I should have invested in the stock because they do semiconductors. The calculators are such a small part of their portfolio and how they make money. I would have known that had I done the freaking research at the time, but I did not. So, that being said, the Texas Instruments is a great company. They have great dividend growth. They're in the IT sector, and their industry is semiconductors. So I added them to my portfolio. Let's see if I can move this over. Ready? I'm using Excel on a phone. Did you ever do that? No, not going to work. Anyway, I would flip it. Landscape, last time I did that, I lost the audio. I'm not redoing this video. Sorry, guys. So a couple of other important things. Obviously, company we went through, ticker, pay dates. Now, I have paid holding, and then I have actual holding. Paid holding is how much I invested in the company. Actual holding is how much the company, how much of my total portfolio is in that company based on the current value of the stock. So again, paid holding, original investment percentage. Actual holding is, current investment percentage. So as you can see, look at Apple. Ridiculous. I bought 4 stocks. 4 stocks. Years ago. Not years ago, maybe 2 years ago. I don't know. I bought it like $170. Sure enough, skyrocketed to $400. And then it did a stock split, and then it was going up. Yesterday it went down because of stupid phone release, but I only invested a small amount. Based on my original investment, they're only 2.94% of my portfolio. However, when I need to consider diversification, I need to use my actual holding percentage. So the actual value of the stock. How much money, in my portfolio is allocated towards Apple. And I'm at 7.55%. So I'm higher than I'd like. Honestly, 5% is my rule. Obviously, I'm breaking it. Realty income is still there, but as I mentioned, that's going to be moved out because I'm going to invest that in realty income in my Roth. I already am, but I need to build up a decent position before I can swallow that sale. Companies like, 3M I just like, so I did that myself. I actually invested 8%, but they're down so much. AT&T similar. They're not a huge. They increased their dividend, but their dividend growth is very weak. So they do not meet that. I like to look for 10% average per year dividend growth. They do not meet that, but I do like the company. So I do have a soft spot for a lot of these companies, and I'm giving them hope for the future. AT&T needs to sell DirecTV so they can move on with their lives. It's massive debt. They paid a lot of money for DirecTV, and they're going to sell it for probably a third. And that's going to hurt them for temporary. Long term, it'll help them. Anyway, back to the point. So this is my spreadsheet. This is what I still use each and every month. Yes, it takes time, but yes, I do love it. Other things I added, we already talked about sector and industry, market cap. Now, if you look to the right, obviously I'm doing it small so you can still see the screen. This is, company, a couple columns I added. Again, the frequency. How many stocks did I own prior to month end and how many stocks did I own prior to ex-dividend date. Average stock price, basically how much I invested in the stock, the average price of it. How much cash I fronted, which is average stock price times total amount of shares. And then dividend cash amount, how much it's paying for that month. In this example, we're looking at October. So these are the dividends that paid me for October. One is RPM, one is Leggett & Platt, another Coca-Cola. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you get the point. Total cash payment. Now, this is the dividend payment times the number of stocks owned prior to ex-dividend date. That was a column I showed previously. Yield on cost is, it's just calculating the yield on cost. And that's based on the original investment. So if you look at, let's see, who's high? Iron Mountain's always high. Nothing sticks out because, again, yield on cost will look very impressive 10 years from now because once, you get the dividend growth based on your original investment, your yield on cost will be pretty decent. Then I have ex-dividend date and payment date. Month-end stock value. I just, at the end of each month, I put, I write down what the current value of the stock is, so I can then calculate my total equity, and then I get to calculate my total capital gain / loss. And then, based on percentage, how I'm doing. As you can see, Apple, I'm up 185% as of, today, actually. Another big one, Target, I'm up 140%. So, things like that. Couple other columns here. What we got? We got payout ratio, very important. Where do you get this information, though? I always got payout ratio from dividend.com. This is basically how much of the net income / earnings is going towards the dividend. So you want something under 100%. Obviously, under 75 would be ideal. If you see anything over 100, you should look suspicious unless it's a REIT. By the way, Iron Mountain is a REIT. I have it under industrial, but it is a REIT. I need to fix that. And to make it even more complicated, some of the dividend payment is qualified as a REIT. Some of it's not. So, will I put it in my Roth with my other REITs, or will I consider it, or just leave it? I don't know. Or should I just sell it and move on with my life? Dividend growth per years. It's how many years the company has increased their dividend. As you can see, we have a legend on here, American States Water, complete legend, 63 years, insane. Dividend growth, 2 new columns I added, dividend growth over the last 5 years and 10 years, I'm looking for 10%. So the ones in green are 10% or over, so I like them. Then I have current dividend yield and market cap. So those are, that's what I track. And again, I apologize if the visual is not that great. Hopefully you could see it pretty good on your screen if you're watching on, I don't know if you're watching on the phone or the computer, but it should be fine. One thing I didn't realize, obviously I'm doing this video, I'm actually sharing my holdings because I know someone was asking me if I could show them. Someone on Instagram was asking if I could present my holdings on there, and I said it's not really that easy because I have a lot. As you can see, I have 34. So I guess I did. I presented all my holdings. And again, this is decisions I made. Don't make investments based on someone else, especially me. Do your own research, do what you got to do. But that's just my opinion. And then I have right below kind of my watch list. And keep in mind, I added this second section down here. I'd have to go through it. These are not really my watch list. These are the ones that they had great dividend growth over the last 10 years. They've had great revenue growth as well. A lot of them are banks. So most of this was happening after the financial crisis back in 2008. So it's easy to have good revenue and dividend growth then. So I need to look more at the 5-year as well. So a lot of these are going to get eliminated. But yeah, on my watch list, I still have companies that may or may not stay on there. Like Colgate will stay on there. Costco, oh my God. Should have bought them before COVID. Good Lord. What a freaking company, man. All right, let me get to my other tabs. What the hell? Yeah, hold on a second, guys. Home. That didn't work. Go back. As you can see, is my first video on using the damn phone. Dividend income goal. Here you go. So I just wanted to show you this. So this is the summary of what I've been doing. And November 2017, I made 50 cents for the month. As of October, I'm at $78. Where is it? There it is, $78.02. And in the beginning, I set a goal. I need to increase my dividend 10%, 10%, 10%. And for the most part, I was hitting that goal, except for the pink ones you could see. The 10%, it was okay. The 9%, the more money I made, the more, it was nearly impossible to keep that goal percentage. So I decided to massively lower the percentage in 2020 to 2.9%. I've been kind of hitting that, well, for the most part, aside from the COVID disaster. But I'm still keeping the 2.9. I'm probably going to lower it to 2.8. It's just something to keep me balanced out, keep it fun and entertaining. Because, the long term, I want to break down, where will I be at, say December of 2021. I think I'll be at $115 a month. So, I'm trying to calculate where I will be and when. I think I'm going to retire at 55. So in June of 2038, I should be making $5,000 a month, which will be pretty good. Will it be enough at the time? Who knows? I also have other, columns. Like as of October, I invested $23,000. My value is $25,000. So my total capital gain is $2,500, $2,581. Dividends received $1,440 in total. So my total return on investment is 17.38%. Not bad. That's it. Total days investing. This is nothing special. But anyway, so I've been investing for 3 years, dividend investing for the most part, and I've learned a lot. So I just wanted to make this video to kind of share how I tracked my dividends and how I started from day one, and even up until now. So, and I know visuals do help people, so that's why I figured I'd make this video. But anyway, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. As always, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a broke-ass investor, just sharing my journey. This video is for fun and entertainment, as PPC Ian always says, right? By the way, if you don't know PPC Ian, check him out. But don't leave my channel. Obviously, he's a genius when it comes to dividend investing. But, listen to us both. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment or a like. It really helps the channel. Obviously, not too consistently lately. Maybe I'll make a video every 1 to 2 weeks. We'll see how that goes. And also, if you did like it, share with your friends. I could sure use the subscribers at this point. But anyway, who cares about that, right? Broke investor, time to go to work. Later.